Hey guys, I was watching an interview of Tim Grover. For those of you that don't know Tim Grover, he was a trainer of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant for many years. He trained Kobe Bryant, training not meaning that he was working with the Chicago Bulls, but he was an outside source for Kobe Bryant, for Michael Jordan, and for many others ultra successful athletes, world class athletes. And he used to travel. He will travel with Kobe Bryant to his games. He would even do that to get him ready for the games. He did that for about 15 years. I really suggest if you wanna know more about him, you can look for Tim Grover on YouTube. He's got plenty of interviews, excellent and very useful, a lot of good information, and he's got a couple of books that are really good. The first one that he made a few years ago, exceptional book called Relentless, and he just came out with a new one called Winning. So he was talking in the interview. He's talking about things that they were asking him, okay, what are differences that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and those guys had, and all that, and so he's giving, he's mentioning some of the difference. He says, well, Kobe Bryant was the kind of guy that will question a lot of things. Michael was more trustful. They say Michael Jordan will work smarter, Kobe Bryant will work harder. And then he throws tips in there, and there were a couple of things. Well, there were a lot of things that got my attention, but a couple of them that I wanted to talk about is that he was mentioning that player like people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, they decide. Well, they don't think too much when they have to make, once they make a decision, they don't like to think too much about it. They don't like to overthink, because they know very well that when you're thinking distracts you a lot from the goal, from the place where you should keep your focus and your eyes. You say it's you have to understand that once you're performing, you don't want to be thinking, and scientifically it's been proven that when you see someone that is performing at his peak and they say, oh, this guy's in the zone, it's actually because the guy's not thinking at all. I think they call it hippo thinking or something like that. I heard about it also in a ferocity course where they're talking about it, and they say that's actually the moment when these guys, they're not really thinking that, they're not really thinking. They just pretty much allow your body to work freely. They know that thinking is something that distracts you, and he says, but if you want to get to that point where you're not gonna be thinking and you're gonna be performer at a high level, first you have to think a lot, meaning you have to train, everything for months, most of the times years, and when you get the technique, perfectly ingrained and drilled in your head and your body, that's when you say, okay, now just release the body, be loose, and let it do its thing. So he mentions, in order to get to the point where you don't think, first you have to think a lot, means you have to train. And we're talking about years. You really have to be disciplined and committed to it. The second thing is that he said, these guys, he was talking about a fallout that Shaq and Michael had in an interview with Oprah, where Shaq, he showed up with like a kind of like a jumpsuit, and Michael showed up in like dressed up in a suit. So they were kind of taking shots at each other, and they had been good friends until then. In that interview, things kind of went south, And it seems like ever since then they haven't been, they haven't been, that the relationship hasn't been the same. So they were saying, why did that happen that moment, and why after so many years of being good friends. And think Robert was saying, well, you know what, one of the things that these guys have, um, people that perform at that level, like world class super performers, whether it's athletes or businessmen or whatever is it, when when they decide something, they decide, they don't suggest. They say, you know what, I think that I should do something. They think about it and they say, okay, I'm gonna do it. And once they decide to do it, they don't keep that doubt in their head, like, maybe I should, maybe I should not, maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. No, he said, probably that day, Shaq and Michael Jordan, they decided that, okay, you know what, we're not gonna put up with this whatever thing what happened, So, and they were, and they just say, I'm not gonna do this anymore. There was probably something that was bound to happen. It was probably something that they they were keeping for themselves for a while, and then when the moment came, they really didn't care that it was like right on an interview with Oprah, and they say, okay, I'm not putting up with this anymore, and they just go at it, and so, but the thing that you get out of that is like, once high achievers decide, they don't suggest. Of course, you don't make a decision in the blink of an eye, just like out of the blue. If you decide to do something, sometimes some decisions take more time, some other ones take less time to think about it, and say, okay, I guess this is probably something that I need to do. But once you decide to do it, don't doubt to it, just commit to it. If you many years ago, I remember there was a pope, John Paul II, that he was loved around the world because he fought communism, and he fought Russians, communists, and it was just a very, very popular pope. And he said something that stick to my mind. He said, don't be the kind of person that does nothing. Do something. Even if you fail, well, if you're gonna fail, hit the wall, and hit the wall with everything, but at least you have something in your head. You're chasing, you're pursuing a goal. Don't be just static doing nothing. And this is something that you want to do with your decisions. What you made the decisions, what you got, once you got to that, once you thought about it, and filter it, and you see you think about the pros and the cons, you say, okay, I'm gonna do it. And once you decide, leave the suggestions aside, try to leave the doubts aside. You say, I'm gonna stick to it, I'm truly believing in it, and I'm just gonna throw everything I got into it. So anyways, so those are the two things that I wanted to talk about. Remember, thinking distracts you. Thinking allows many times emotions to get in the way, but in order to get to the point where you can do something so well, and that's because you're not thinking anymore, you have to think a lot first, meaning you have to put the work first, you have to put the training. And the second one is that once you decide to do something, don't accept any more suggestions, just decide to do it, commit to it, and move on. All right? Okay, guys, I hope you like it. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.